Do you know what standing jeans are?
No. I don't even know if you mean jeans with a G or a J.
I love that he got out of the car and gave you a hug, because how awkward too if you meet someone and you're like both sitting in the car and you're like,
hey.
it's so awkward. That sounds like a scene from a movie. It could not get worse than that.
He's mortified afterwards.
Does this kid have the worst luck in the world? Welcome back to another episode of Mean Girl Pod.
The headband strikes again.
I
love it.
I have to. I officially have no eyelash extensions on, and I just feel like a little boy without them. And the headband makes me feel more feminine.
I think that the headband's really pretty on you.
Thank you. I will say it takes hours off from doing my hair, because the hardest part on my hair is like this part. Just like I have colics and it's the frizziest. So if I can get rid of this just stays straight. It's like this has all the frizz.
You call it colics?
Yeah, you know what a hair colic is, right?
I call it a calic.
Oh, really? A calic?
Oh my God, that's so funny. Like, I know babies can get colic, but I've never heard of I've always just called it a calic. Like, for a second when you said it, I was like, what is she talking about? I was like, oh, calics. That's so funny.
Wait, what do you say? Calic?
Calic, like California. I say calic, but you say colic, like a phone call.
Yeah, I have a colic in my... Wait, now I'm like wondering, I'm like, am I saying it wrong? Because I don't know why it'd be named the same thing as what a baby does or gets.
No, but I think it's probably just like lawyer. Like, I'm sure we just always said them differently in different like parts.
Do you have a hair colic?
Yeah, in the back. And I got a lot worse whenever I was pregnant.
So weird. I know my mom's hair, actually, she told me that or maybe she was born this way. I can't remember. I thought it was when she became pregnant. She got like a red patch of hair in the back. Not like bright red, but just like a goldeny red patch.
Does she dye it?
Yeah, she dyes her hair now. I mean, she's been dyeing her hair for years. But yeah, she said that like there was just like a little area that was a little, like in the light, it would look a little red.
Oh my God, that's so funny. My hair's trying to go brown, like it's so funny what happens. Your hormones, I guess.
So wild.
Speaking of colors, you've really gone for it today. You wanted to match the nails. I love the green. Tell us about your monster.
Isn't it kind of trippy?
Yeah, it's really cool though. It looks good.
It's so bright. So I decided to go with the Ultra Paradise, which is the green monster, because when I was looking at the store of which one to get, I was like, I feel like I have to match the nails. Like, how fun is that? It's so bright.
It's like beautiful. You want to open it in the mic so we can hear.
Ooh.
Ooh, nice. Take a little sipperoo. Yum, jealous.
It tastes like a green apple. Like if you like anything that's green apple flavored, this is the monster of your dreams. It's so good and so refreshing, especially in the winter when everything is like dull. This is a little bit of, I don't know, I guess green apple reminds me of the fall, but also not the fall.
I would agree with that. I also think that it's lovely to have it because what time is it there? 1:20?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see, you're going to be energized all the way up until it's like time to wind down. It's the perfect time to drink one.
I know. I like whenever Pete's like, how are you drinking caffeine this late? And I'm like, I could fall asleep at any time of the day. And also sometimes when I drink caffeine later in the afternoon, it makes me crash and I'll just take a nap afterwards.
Yeah, it's so true. It's every day's different. You never know like what's gonna happen with it. But what I love about the monsters is there's no crash afterwards.
Yeah,
and so it's like that's what I'm saying. Like you're just gonna coast right up until your bedtime, and it'll be perfect.
Good. More reading for me to do then.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have some energy to read.
Exactly. How is your week going? What are your roses and thorns?
My thorn is, and by the time this airs, he's back in town. But I just dropped Harrison off at the airport because he's like going out of town. And when I tell you, traveling, like he kept going and like grabbing Tate. and being like, I'm not going to be able to wake you up in the morning. Like every morning he gives her first bottle, and it's just like, I'm so sad. And like, he just like, it's silly and it's cute. But yeah, he's traveling without her, and so that's my thorn. It was just sad. Like I'll be fine, but I was thinking about her, and I just made me really sad.
Wait, is this the first time he's away from Tate?
So he was away from her one night, like the fourth week she was born, and it's this really weird thing where like we know her better now. She like has a personality now. Like the attachment's worse now than it was then, because then we were like trying to figure everything out, and I can't even remember where he went. Like it was all a blur. But now, you know, we've been doing it for 3 months, and it's like she knows who wakes her up in the morning. She smiles back at you. She like knows who gives her bottle. And so it's harder to leave because you know they'll miss you.
Yeah.
So this isn't the first time, but it feels like the first time.
Well, and also too, like you have to take on all of the tasks he does. So I feel like it's just, I mean, it's harder for both of you. Like he emotionally for him, but then you're like, there's more work for me now.
Oh yeah, I've just reserved to do nothing. I've got a lot of nothing planned.
Oh, no, that sounds silly. That makes me sad.
Yeah, it's like cute sad. So it's like not the worst. What's your thorn? Let's go thorn, rose. You guys know Jordyn and I cannot stop raving about our Skims, especially the Fits Everybody collection, you guys. They've completely taken over my top drawer, especially because when I was pregnant, I stopped wearing thongs because they like did not feel practical. They were not comfy until I tried the Skims one, and honestly, it feels like I'm wearing nothing. It is the most comfortable thing on the planet, as is everything they have. I just wore one of their bras to work out the other day because when I'm breastfeeding, obviously my boobs are bigger, and so I needed something super supportive but super comfy, and it was the best thing ever. It was the Razorback bra. So you guys, get in on the goods with Skims, especially the Fits Everybody, especially as we kick off the new year. It's all about comfort, but don't sacrifice the style, which is why the Everybody Triangle Bralette has been my go-to. I've been wearing it with sweaters. I've been wearing it with sweatshirts. I've been wearing it underneath t-shirts. It is the absolute best thing on the planet, especially as a new mom. I cannot rave about this stuff more. So shop Skims, the best intimates, including the Fits Everybody collection and more at skims.com and Skims New York flagship on 5th Avenue. Oh my gosh, I saw that opening and I was like dying to go. And if you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. You guys will love what you order. I can promise you that.
Okay. Not to be a broken record or be a little complainer. I'm just like a little moody today. It's because I'm getting my period any moment. I just can feel, you know how like would you? Okay. Do you get yours? Are you getting yours again?
No, still don't have mine. So that's because I'm breastfeeding, I think.
But do you remember when you would get it and how you would just feel like knives in your stomach?
Yes.
Like that's just how I feel today. I feel a little on edge. But my apartment just pisses me off. I swear, Alex, I have lived in 3 apartments in New York City, and they've gotten progressively nice since I've lived here. My first one was like traditional, what you picture like a college kid living in. Like it was a shoebox. It was a walk-up. No amenities. We never had a problem. Never with the maintenance. Everything was like perfect in that apartment. Second apartment, same thing. Never had issues. This is now the nicest apartment I've lived in, and we have had the water randomly turn off on us, get shut off. Like in the past 2 weeks, it's been turned off twice, and the Wi-Fi will just turn off. The construction is driving me insane. There's men outside my windows all day. I have to like keep the blinds closed. I'm like, I can't take it. I can't take it.
Oof. It like keeps you in constant fight or flight mode. Like you can't ever relax really, which is what, and it's supposed to be the area. It's the one area in New York where you can relax. So I do see how that just would put you on constant edge. Oh.
Like Monday.
So funny though that.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, it's so funny that this is the one. Like of all we've had 3 apartments and like it's It's not like one thing in each one. It's like this one continuously.
And on Monday, it was like the Wi-Fi went out, which sucks because we work remote. And Mondays are usually I would say Mondays and Tuesdays are my busiest days because of this is the worst. So that was out. And then Tuesday, they turned off the water all day. And then today, I'm so grateful for Wednesdays because I'm out of the apartment most of the day because we record. But we're on the 6th floor, so we can hear everyone on the roof. And all the construction workers are like doing what construction people usually do on the ground, but on the roof because it's New York City. And I'm just like sitting there and it's like,
Oh.
and I'm like, are they going to come through the ceiling? Am I going to die?
Are you the top floor?
Yeah, we're the top floor.
Oh my gosh. And noise canceling headphones don't cancel out jackhammers.
No, because it feels like the apartment's shaking. You're like, I actually feel like they might fall through the roof. So,
oh my gosh. I mean, this is just putting me in like, wow.
So
Overload.
hate this apartment, but that's okay. But that is my thorn. Mainly just because it was like the water, because last Saturday the water turned off. So the city actually turned off the whole street's water, not just our apartments, but they didn't tell anyone. So it was a Saturday and we woke up with no water, and we didn't get any messages from our apartment, our landlord, or anything. It was the weirdest thing. And finally, Pete messaged the super, and he was like, oh yeah, the city turned off the water. Hopefully we'll be back by like noon. And we're like, this is something you should probably tell all the tenants, but okay.
Yeah, wow. You just, but they don't even, there's no like process.
Not in New
there,
York.
you know, because it's just, they
New York is like the most.
They don't care.
No, they're like the most functioning city, but the most Wild West city in the world.
No question. Okay, wait. Are they charging people to come in the city $9?
Yeah. So everything. So once you get past 60th Street, they have a new toll that charges you like $9 to go down, which I've actually noticed a huge difference. So Pete told me the other day his commute was cut down by 30 minutes, which is huge in New York City. But I noticed that the streets just aren't as busy. I was walking around Soho on Saturday, and I was with my friend Abby, and I was like, is it COVID again? Because Soho is usually the most popular street in New York City, or the most popular area of New York City, especially on Broadway, like when people are shopping. And I was like, what am I missing something? Like, why is no one here? It was so weird.
Wow. Okay, wait. So what is that? So it's $9 to enter on via car, right?
Yeah, past 60th Street. I guess it's like the congestion toll. So if you want to come into the city,
so 40?
I mean, instead of driving, you're going to be taking the subway, which I haven't noticed too much of a difference on the subway. I wonder if like the Metro North is more busy, or the Amtrak or the New Jersey Transit.
So I guess if you worked, let's say you worked 50 weeks a year, it's $2,250 a year to come. That's what it would be if you worked weekdays.
Oh, wow. Well, and I think, too, that probably just pisses people off. And they're just like, it's so funny because it's like, we'll buy a $10 cup of coffee every day, but we won't drive our car into the city anymore.
Yeah, well, then I bet you have to pay for parking on top of that, too, though, like a parking space. So, like, it does really add up. It's funny. $9 a day is not $3. Like, I wonder how they got, $9's like the perfect number.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see if it will just make the city a little less busy, especially on the weekends, because people maybe who usually come in just for fun, they're either not going to come in anymore or they're going to take public transportation. But yeah, I was shook. I was like, I feel like COVID's happening again because Soho's the busiest place and there is not anyone walking on the streets.
That's so crazy. It's nice, though. Like, that is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I live on, I'm not going to tell you where I live, but I live above 60th Street. That's all I'll say. And it's very busy still because I live above 60th Street.
We now know you're on the 6th floor and you're above 60th Street, so we're narrowing in on the map of where you live.
Oh my god, just tell the whole world where I live. But yeah, so I forgot that happened.
Yeah, I just saw it, like a video of it yesterday, and I was like, wow, it's really working.
Yeah,
I don't know what area it was in. I just was like scrolling past it.
I'll keep you posted. Yeah. I'd be curious to see too what like the West Side Highway is like for cars. I don't know if that's like, or whatever that street is.
Oh, yeah, I wonder what that looks like.
Or the FDR.
Probably less.
I wonder what the FDR is like. I wonder what it's going to be like going to the airport. I wonder if the Ubers are going to be more expensive now.
I wonder if there are as many Ubers.
Well, as long as you... Oh, shoot. I live above 60th Street. I wonder what it's going to be like to get an Uber because they're going to get charged going downtown and uptown.
Yeah, are you going to have to pay that?
I wonder if taxis or Ubers get like the kibosh because like that helps people not drive in the city.
Yeah, if they get like a transportation card or exemption or something, you got to let us know. Like you got to check because I wonder if they'll like add $18, $9 each way to your bill. Because you can click when you request an Uber, avoid tolls or not, right? There's an option.
Yeah.
And if one route's faster, and then, I wonder. Ooh, you're gonna have to tell us next time you go.
I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know. What's your rose? It makes me happy, your rose, if it's what you're gonna say.
That I'm having a dinner party?
I just love dinner. I've never really had a dinner party, but it's my fantasy to have one.
I'm so excited. It dawned on me last Sunday. We were like walking and I was like, oh my gosh, like we have a week in advance. Let's plan the dinner party now and let's invite people with kids. I've never had a kids dinner party. So 5 couples are coming. All the kids are 1 or under 1 years old. So we're going to like set up the play mats and just do like a parent dinner party on Saturday. And I'm so excited.
So with this dinner party, are you making the food? Everyone bringing food? Like how do the food and drinks work? Is it like a seated table with place settings, or is it just kind of like everyone stand around? Like I need details.
Okay, I appreciate you wondering. So we ironed them out this morning. So because there's football on, and because there's kids, so we're gonna be like running around. Third component is none of the couples know each other. So I don't want Harrison or I to be in the kitchen occupied. So we're going to order it in and we're going to do Greek food. Like just easy like chicken kebabs with like pitas and things like that. That's like the component number 1 because I wanted to do Aperol spritzes. But I couldn't do Aperol spritzes with Mexican food. So I thought we could do Greek food and we could do Aperol spritzes and beer and wine. And then we're not doing seated because I think 2 of the babies can like walk barely, like starting to walk. So like chasing them around, constantly like holding babies and things. So I wanted to be like real casual where like we just sit literally around the house and like play with the kids and eat as you go and just watch football and like that kind of night, that kind of vibe.
You have such a great layout too for a dinner party because you have like an open floor plan. So if someone was in one room, you can pretty much see everyone. Like if you're in the kitchen quick, you could like be in the kitchen fixing stuff and talk to people still, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I want like my number one thing I want to nail when people like come in the door is like actually make yourself at home. Like sit wherever you want, like get your drink, refill your drink. Because that's when people are most comfortable is like when you walk into a house, And so I want people to just like take over their own little areas and like plop their kids down. And I agree. It's like very open and I want people to feel at home. So I'm going to really try to make it a relaxed vibe.
I love that. I also love how much you guys love Aperol Spritz.
I'm obsessed with it. Okay, so I went to this place here in December, and they gave us these Aperols in like a giant wine glass, like the biggest red wine glass you can get.
Yeah.
And they had like a thick, it was the holidays, so they had a thick candy cane-like straw in there. I am going to recreate it. I want to get big wine glasses and like fill them with ice and Aperols and put like a big straw in it. It was like the happiest spritz ever.
Let me tell you, a glass makes or breaks a drink for me. I love so. First of all, I love a big wine glass, but there is a restaurant in New York City that I love, but they don't have wine glasses. They just put their wine in like little cup glasses. I don't go there for that reason.
I'm with you. If you put a spritz in like a water glass or something, like I don't want it.
No.
And wine's the same way. Like the experience is the glass.
Yes. I love a big wine glass so much. Oh my gosh. I'm jealous. That sounds so fun.
You guys, it's the new year and what we're all doing is getting organized. And the number one place to get organized is your finances. And there's something that is so frustrating. And I know it frustrates me and it frustrates all of you. And that's reoccurring subscriptions, especially ones that you're not using. Like Jordyn used it to cancel a lot of her subscriptions on like Hulu, Peacock, streaming services that you don't even use anymore, but you're paying for. So enter Rocket Money, which is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings, because we're all at the age now where we're really paying attention to our future and we all want to grow our savings. So see all of your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. For the ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. And the best part is you don't even have to leave the app to do it. So Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/meangirl today. That's rocketmoney.com/meangirl. rocketmoney.com/meangirl. What are your home wine glasses? They have stems on them or are they stemless?
They have stems. I got mine from Amazon. I actually really like them. I can send you the link, but they're not huge. They're like a traditional white wine glass. Probably this thick.
Mm-hmm.
But I like them.
This was seriously massive.
I like them though because the stem is super thin. I love a thin stem.
Same. I totally agree. I love a thin stem. I don't like the I don't know if I love stemless or not. I can't decide. I have some. I think that they're not quite as fun.
No.
Functional around kids probably, but
I only like them when you're like taking it on the deck and like you're kind of in a to me I like them. So you know that why they were created, right? Stem and not stem. So technically you should never drink white wine in a stemless glass because your hands make the white wine warm, and you should only be drinking red wine in a stemless glass because it's okay if you warm it up. And like that's why I don't, but it's funny because I think of stemless glasses as more of like a casual occurrence, and I think of white wine. Like I think of sitting on a deck with a stemless wine glass, but that's why they're made. So technically you're never supposed to use it unless you're drinking a beverage that can be warm, like red wine.
I did know about the holding. Like I did know if you had white wine, you're supposed to hold the stem. Like I did know that because you're not supposed to heat it up type thing. I didn't know that was why they made the stemless though. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I only like the stemless. Like if I'm going on like a boat or something like that, where I'm like I will break this stem.
I actually, to that point, I love a plastic stemless.
Yeah.
More so, like a poolside. Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds so fun, though. I just love this era for you. I feel like you're having a blast and you're making so many friends.
It's like a dog on steroids, having a kid. Like, I don't know if I would have known these couples or thought to invite them over had we not have all had babies. But it's just like a little extra bonding component with the kids.
I mean, listen, if you want to make friends, just have a baby. Because my mom's best friends are all the kids that I grew up with's parents.
I get why, though, because it's so convenient.
And you have so much in common. If you're a parent, you just have so much to talk about.
Especially the same age. It's just I don't know though. I would love to fast forward in 10 years and see who are my best mom friends. I can't wait to see.
Right? I know, I agree. That's fun. My rose,
What's yours?
my rose isn't that crazy. Have you ever been to the restaurant Palma in New York?
I was wondering if you meant the restaurant. Yes.
So you've been?
Yes.
I went there for the first time last week, and I only get one of my friends was like, when did you go? Because like I looked at your location and you were home at 7. And I was like, I went at 5 p.m. because that was the only reservation I could get. Like I didn't go on a Friday at 5 by choice. I mean, I'll be honest, I loved going on a Friday at 5, but they only had a 5 p.m. reservation, and I've been trying to go to this restaurant for years, and I was like, I'm taking this res if this is the only option I have. But that restaurant is so aesthetically beautiful. The food was great, the drinks were great, but I felt like I was transported to Italy / a little bit of Greece, and I was like, if I were to ever have a wedding reception in New York City, that's where I'd want it. I couldn't stop looking at how beautiful everything was.
I think I sat on the patio.
Oh,
the
patio's
enclosed
so pretty.
area.
They have a patio.
I'm trying to think.
It's just, it was closed, obviously, when I went because it was 20 degrees.
I was just jogging my memory. Like I was like, I need to see this because I was like, I think I was on a patio. Yeah. So what did you think of the food?
The food was incredible. And they have a lot of gluten-free options for Pete, which was great. So we got like this fig charcuterie board. Obviously, he didn't eat the bread. And then we got meatballs, and their meatballs are gluten-free. And then I got this gnocchi that was incredible. It was like a black truffle mozzarella buffalo gnocchi. And then Pete got gluten-free bolognese. No, rigatone. No, ragu. And it was so good. Like one of my top favorite restaurants down in New York City.
Really? Mm-hmm. And I love the location. Like I love walking around there after dinner. Like so nice.
So pretty. Like everything about it is just beautiful. I was like, this is the most aesthetically beautiful, and not like from like a bougie standpoint. It was just like everything was like white lit, and they had like vines on the ceiling and really pretty lights, and the decor was very simple but elegant. And I was like, this is just so pretty. I loved it there.
It's like a classic. It's one of those like classic feeling New York restaurants that's not like trendy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very timeless.
Yeah, so that was mine.
Oh,
I have a question
that's a
for
great
you.
one. I forgot about their gluten-free pizza or their pasta. Yes. What?
So before we get into today's topic, does Harrison, or I guess you too, because sometimes you don't know that we are on different pages when it comes to topics. Do you know what standing jeans are?
No, I don't even know if you mean jeans with a G or a J.
Like,
oh my God, jeans you only stand in?
Yeah.
Or the jeans you don't sit down in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I do have multiple pairs of these. I did not know they had a name. Wow.
So the reason why I asked those, because I'm curious for you to ask Harrison, because Pete was shocked that girls have jeans just for standing. And I tried to explain to him, I'm like, all girls have standing jeans, all girls have sitting jeans, but none of us purposely buy a pair of jeans knowing we're just going to stand in it. Usually what happens is that sometimes our favorite jeans just become too tight, but they look so cute out that they're just made to go out in because we're not ever going to sit down. And then if I go to a restaurant where I know I'm going to eat a lot, I have sitting jeans that are really loose around the waist.
I could not agree more. I also think a lot of my standing jeans, it's when I sit in them, they wrinkle too much.
Yes.
And so like once I stand up, they're ruined, and I know that about them. So I just say if I stand in them, they'll stay cute. If I sit, they're ruined.
But it was just so funny because I'm like, boys don't even understand the half of it for like what girls go through.
No, I think jeans, I mean, I haven't worn a pair of jeans in so long. I think that they are truly so uncomfortable.
I hate jeans. I hate them so much, but I got this super cute pair from Evolve, and they were so expensive, and they're really, really tight around the waist, but they fit my legs and butt really well. And I was like, I'm not returning these. So I was like, I'm going to keep them, and they will be my standing jeans, because let me tell you, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to sit in them. I physically they're so tight, I wouldn't be able to sit all the way down.
But it's a real thing that they look so darn cute when you're standing. And it's just like you just have standing jeans. And there's, if you're going to like a dinner or something but it's like, well, where do you wear your standing jeans?
I feel like out at the bars because, not that I go out to the bars
Yes.
anymore, but you don't sit, you know?
You truly don't. You truly don't sit. I'm down to like go to the bars too. Like, I'm not going to the bars either, and I'm not wearing jeans either. But if I was, I would be like standing at if I went and the last thing I did that night was sit, I would do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like all my standing jeans are like my cute jeans I wear out to like the bars or I guess like a concert if you're just standing the whole time.
That's a really good one. Or it would motivate you to stand.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I thought it was so interesting that Pete, that's the first time Pete had heard it. And I was like, there's just so many things that girls do that boys have no idea we do.
There are so many things that we do.
Yeah, so it's wild.
That boys don't know about.
But should we get into today's topic today? Should we get into today's topic
excited.
today?
Today we should do that today for today's topic.
I also
I'm so
have period
excited
brain.
about it. Can't believe so the topic is crazy dating stories.
Yes.
And I feel like I know yours.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I'm going to tell includes you. So yeah, you do know all mine.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Yeah. Okay. I think I don't have like such a crazy one. But I think our submissions are hilarious.
Do you have one you want to tell?
No, basically, like the only crazy dating story I want to tell is, because mine's kind of fast, so I'll go off the top here. Basically, there was this boy, and he wanted to take me out on a date, and we were in high school. Well, we were going into college, and I either didn't want to go on the date. Or I was nervous. I can't remember. So I called Sydney, my best friend, and I said, "Hey, I need you to come over." And so she comes over, and then when she gets there, I say, "Hey, you're going on this date with me." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "We're both going to go on the date." She's like, "Okay, great." So the sweet boy comes to the door because, he like drives over to my house, comes to the door to like say hi to my dad, as a polite boy does. And like I peel around the corner, and then behind me, Sydney peels around the corner, and his face is just like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "We're both going to go on the date with you." And he's like, "Okay." He could not have been nicer. And I remember he drove like a 2-door kind of like sports car. So he had to like put the seat, pull the seat forward for one of us to get in the back. I sat in the back. She sat in the front with them. Like, I should have been mortified. It never hit me to be mortified until later in life. We go to this like Mexican joint, and we sit in a booth like this. Sydney and I sat on the same side of the booth. Like, it was so just like
Alex.
platonic. Yeah. So my worst date story is like, I probably made it his worst date.
Did you?
So I just would like to get ahead of that.
Did you go on a second date?
No. Well, maybe actually. No, I really don't think so.
That's so funny. Only high school is that somewhat acceptable though. Like if you did that any other age, I would be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Entirely. So I think I'm probably his worst date story. I just would like to self admit that that's what happened.
So mine also is, I am the reason it's the craziest date. Like you and I are the reason why this poor guy is scarred for his whole life. So like when a Mean Girl pod first started, if you guys have been here since day one, you'll know this story. Alex and I thought it would be a good idea for Alex to dress up and go on all the dates with me. So she would...
Still a great idea.
I mean, I would say like, still to this day, people like will DM us about these dates. But the first one we ever went on, Alex decides to dress up like like a old man. You had like a unibrow. Mm-hmm. You had the glasses.
I loved it. Oh, I loved these.
Like the craziest version you could possibly think of herself, she was wearing that. And she went on a date with me, and she would live tweet everything that was happening on this date. And we never showed the guy's face. Like, you probably are like, you guys are horrible people. But we never revealed his identity. We never showed his face, nothing. She was just sitting at the bar, like, real time tweeting everything that was happening. Like, she'd be like, is he gonna pay? Oh, he ended up paying. What's he gonna order? Oh, he ordered a martini. Is he wearing a watch? Like, all this stuff.
I forget about these, like all the details. I loved live tweeting them. I loved it.
And I remember after the date, the guy found out, obviously, because Alex live tweeted this date, and they went pretty viral, the live tweets. And he texted me, and he was so mad, like pretty much like threatening both of us, which you and I could have cared less. We were like, okay, we're never gonna tell the world what, like, who you are, nothing. And then after he realized that we weren't making this a big deal, he then proceeds to go, okay, I'm waving the white flag, can I come on the pod?
I never forget, we gave him the alias of Clifford.
Yes.
His text messages to you were so insane, and we were like, dude, we've never said your name. Your photo's not in. The only person that knows it's you is you.
Literally. Like, he was like text of threats, like verbally, like did we deserve it a little bit? But he was like verbally harassing us, and then we just weren't responding. And then, yeah, it was so funny because then like an hour later he goes, okay, if I come on the pod, I'll wave the white flag and we can put this to bed. And we're like, no.
We're like, it's already to bed. Like, it's not. Also, like, the tweets were in his favor. I was like, okay, he paid. Like, I think I loved his outfit. Like, but nobody knew it was him.
No.
Only he knew it was him.
And like the only thing is I trashed him a little bit on the pod, but it was mainly after the fact because he was so rude with the text. So obviously I was a little angry, but like he also was just like a little bit of a turd on the date. Like, he was very much so like bragging about how much money he had, and he made a few comments where I was like, what? Like I would never have gone on a second date with him because our values did not align. And what he was saying, I was just like, I don't care that you can buy me $1,000 all you can eat sushi meal at the top restaurant in New York. Like he was just like throwing like, yeah, I can get us into this one restaurant. It's like all you can eat, but it's going to be like $1,000 for us to go, but I can do it. And I was just like, I don't care.
Okay.
So
I remember your one thing with him was he didn't ask you anything.
Did not ask me a single question.
Yeah, he was always just talking. You know, like, I obviously wish this man well, and like there was nothing wrong with him. He just like, it was a nice humbling moment for a guy like that.
Yeah.
To be like, she has a podcast and has given me an alias, and one of them was live tweeting it. Like, it's just like, I think that probably did him some favors.
Yes, because I mean, it like, not to be mean, but he was like the perfect guy to do it to, because yeah, it was like not one question asked of me. Bragged about how much money he made, what he did for a living, what he could do on our pay for on our second date. I was just like, you need to reevaluate how you go on first dates.
Or that'll work on some nice gal, but no.
I think he had like a Rolex on or something with like his sleeves pushed up the whole time.
And he was doing this.
Yeah, I was just like, I can't.
Yeah.
And then he kept asking, he's like, yeah, we'll do another drink. And I was like, no, I want to go home.
He was. I'll never forget. I know he wore like, for sure, just all white tennis shoes. That's the only thing I can remember. And I think he had a vest on.
He definitely had a long sleeve white shirt on with, I think, a vest, and yeah, white tennis shoes.
Yeah, that's our boy. That is so funny. Yeah. If he ever gets in a scenario where he has to tell his worst dating story, he probably won't even tell it. He probably won't even tell it because he probably wants to not tell anybody.
And then if he would ever have looked behind him, he would have seen you literally just sitting at the bar. The whole time I was like trying to make him perfectly aligned with me so I wouldn't have to look at you.
Oh my gosh. I want to reiterate, we never said their names and we never showed their faces ever.
And after that one podcast, we never talked about him again. It was like one and done. Like when he was getting mad at us, we were already planning our second date, like with a different person. As in we were, you and I.
And then he yeah, we were already on. We were already on the next one. And yeah, it was so funny though. It took him like an hour, and then he's like, "Okay, you know what? Actually, I'd like to come on the podcast." And we were like, "What? On Earth?"
We're in like Staten Island, like doing some random stuff. I don't even know why we went. And I was like, "Oh, he wants to come on the pod now."
No, yeah. At first we were like, "Dang, why is he so mad?" And then we were like, "Oh, he's not mad."
Oh my god! Like, I wish I still had those texts, like text. That was wild. But
Yeah.
I'd like to also reiterate
You were
that
like, I was like, "Oh no."
I am the reason this date was crazy. You and I were, not him.
So funny. I'm trying to think if I have like a personally bad dating experience. Not like really. These people that wrote in, oh my God, they do.
Oh my god, yeah. So last week we talked about friendship breakups, and for the first time ever, we had listener submissions about their own worst breakups, and everyone really liked it. We got great feedback back through the DMs, and you guys said you really liked them. So then this week we went with the craziest dating story, your craziest dates you've ever been on, and Cleveland Kitchen is going to help sponsor our first listener submission.
I'm so excited about Cleveland Kitchen because they sent all of us a bunch of products back in December, and they make fresh, flavorful, gut-healthy foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and pickles that are naturally fermented. And you guys, they taste absolutely delicious. The kraut I put on bratwursts, and when I got the kraut, I was like, what do I do with this? And so I Googled some recipes, and I was like, okay. So Harrison and I put it on these bratwursts. They were so good. And the best part about it is if you do 2 forkfuls, it's all the probiotics you need. And JW, you kind of have a thing or two about gut health, if I remember correctly.
Yes, so it's no secret that when I was in Florida over the holidays, I had so many issues with going to the bathroom. My gut was just totally out of whack. And then when I got back to New York, I was finally able to get my hands on my Cleveland Kitchen selection, and I love the pickles and the red onions. And as soon as I started eating that, I could just feel my gut going back to normal because I was home just eating candy and foods that just didn't serve me. And then as soon as I was back in New York, I had my healthy selection of Cleveland Kitchen, and I was going back to the bathroom regularly, and life was good again.
And so you guys, I'm telling you, you can put a fork in it. It is so good. It's so flavorful, and then naturally fermented. It's just like, it's making me crave it right now. So you guys get in on this with us, and you can not order them. You can pick them up at your local grocery store. So Whole Foods, Kroger, Sprouts, Walmart, you name it, they've got it. And the best part is, okay, keep your receipt and go to clevelandkitchen.com/podcast. There's no S on that. It's podcast, PODCAST. Submit your receipt and they'll Venmo you $4 back, which is pretty darn cool. So go to your local grocery store today, pick up your Cleveland Kitchen products, submit your receipt, get your money back, get your gut health in check, and enjoy some really delicious fermented foods.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now let's get into our first listener submission, sponsored by Cleveland Kitchen. And you can read it, please.
Okay, I will. I loved reading
these. Are so good. All of the submissions.
They truly are. Okay, so I went on a first date with a guy I loosely knew. We got coffee and took his dog to the dog park. We had fun and wanted to continue the date, but he wanted to change into a nicer outfit. This man, who was 31, proceeded to take me to his parents' house where he lives. We walked up to the front door, which had an image of Mary plastered on it. I disregarded it and went inside. He then left me alone with his dad, whom I was meeting for the first time, to go upstairs and change. His dad, who was making a cheese pizza at the time, gave me a full rundown on his digestive issues. He told me all about his acid reflux and how he couldn't eat cheese because it made him burp and feel sick while he was making a cheese pizza for himself. The guy finally came downstairs and we continued the date. This is the part that gets me. Unfortunately, I ended up dating this man for 4 years after this.
I like the part I'm the most curious about is what was her relationship with the family for the next 4 years if the dad was that honest in the beginning? Like, what happened for the 4 years they were together?
And we should mail the dad some Cleveland Kitchen because he clearly needs all the gut health help he can get. But I don't know. Could you date somebody that lived at home?
No. I mean, like, younger, yes. But at this age, no. I barely could even handle someone who had a roommate, which I'm being very contradictory because I had a roommate when I was dating Pete. But, like, I need privacy. I need some peace and quiet when I'm dating someone. And going back to get, or even, like, to, like, have some alone time, knowing that the parents are in the house, like, what a turnoff.
And like she it's funny because you can tell, unfortunately, I ended up dating this man for 4 years. So like she's looking back on it thinking like, oh, I should have known better. But I find it a flag when they live at home in their 30s, unless they're like in med school or saving up for something. Like,
yeah.
That I do understand. If they're doing like a short-term pain for a long-term gain, I'm all for it. But if it's just like Failure to Launch with Sarah Jessica Parker, where she tries to get Matthew McConaughey to move out of his parents' house, like that's kind of what I think of. But yeah, this is wild, sitting there just being like, yes to the dad, explaining his issues. So funny. Also
too, I would never want to meet someone's parents for the first time like that. And to me, this man has no boundaries. If he is just bringing you over after the first day or before the first day and leaves you with his dad, to me, I'm like, you're very self-unaware and you have no boundaries.
Yeah, like you haven't even prepped the dad. Like, hey, dad, you know, like meeting the parents is such a thing, and you want everybody to be on their best behavior, and it's just like she just kind of threw them both into the fire.
Yeah, thank God though it was the dad saying the digestive issues and not the son. Because can you imagine being on a date and like the boy is telling you everything that's wrong with his stomach?
Oh my gosh, I would just be like, listen, we're just like, because it would just give you the ick immediately.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember this was Pete's birthday, so this was like maybe 3 months in. He slept over and I was having the worst stomach issues ever. Like, we had gone somewhere and I just ate something I shouldn't have eaten. I should have ate Cleveland Kitchen because that would have made my stomach feel so good. But I think I ate like cheese, like a lot of cheese. And I remember we were in my bed getting ready for bed and I was very smelly, but like I wasn't doing that in front of him yet. And I had to make up an excuse every single time to get out of bed. Like, I was already full skincare in bed, and I'd be like, oh, I forgot to grab my chapstick in the bathroom. I'll be right back. And then I would go back in the room. And then again, I was like, oh, I think I forgot to turn off the hallway light. And I would like go back out. And he probably was like, why is she getting out of bed so much? But my stomach was in shambles. And I was just like, you're killing me.
There is nothing worse than that though, because then you're so uncomfortable. There's nothing you can do, and like you don't want to tell him.
No, not that early on. I was like, we literally have known each other 3 months, and it's your birthday. I am not telling you about my horrible stomach cramps right now.
Oh my gosh, and oh my God, I feel for you. Oh, I know everyone listening does too. It's just like, it's so uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable. I can read the second one.
Okay, let's do it.
Are you good with that if I read it?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Please.
Okay. Story number 2. You want to know you want to know what's even worse? Being a 19-year-old guy, single, and heading to the club. You meet an attractive 40-year-old woman thinking she's 37 and decide you want to experience the cougar life. You hit it off, head back to the hotel, and hook up 3 times that same night. Fast forward a few months, you match with a girl your age on Tinder and hit it off. When you meet up, she looks vaguely familiar, but you can't quite place her. After 3 dates and some hanky-panky, that kills me that he says that, she invites you over to meet her parents. You walk in, give her father a respectful handshake, 5 fingers, firm grip, and full eye contact. And then he introduces you to his wife. Your heart drops into your stomach because a few months ago, you were hooking up with her in that hotel. Trying to catch your breath, you play it cool like you helped her at the grocery store once. Small world, right? Can you imagine?
It sounds like something out of a movie. I just need to know, like, I need to call this person on the pod and ask, did you tell the daughter? Did you tell the daughter? Did you go on another date with it? Because for me, it would just be like,
well, like, so it was funny because when he DM'd us, he prefaced at the bottom, he's like, I promise you this is a true story. Because at first I was like, okay, did you like get this from like a Reddit thread or like a plot of a movie? But after he said that, I was like, okay, I believe you. But I need to know, because you're not only if you continue dating the daughter, like, are you going to cause the parents to get divorced? Like, are you going to then have an affair with the mom again? Like, I need to know more information.
that's like what I'm saying. Like, my mind is processing. And I'm like, if this was me and I was the daughter and somebody told me this, I would just be like, I could just never, it's just like destroys the whole family. Like even if they were madly in love and like hitting it off, I don't even know how we could get past, you can't get past it. I don't think you can get past it. It's jaw on the floor level stuff.
I mean, like, not that this happens a lot, but it just makes you wonder, like, date people that are closer in your age bracket because... Like, sometimes the world is so small that I could see this happening.
If anybody else has any story remotely like this, please tell us, because that is wild.
And if you're listening, who wrote it in, please let us know, like, did you continue dating each other? Did you ever tell the daughter? Did you end up with the mom? Like, did the parents get divorced? Like, I need to know more information on what happened.
Because if you're the mom too, you're like, oh, no, honey, you're not dating him because, like, what if he did tell? You know, like, what if, like, I don't know, what if she's sketchy and doesn't want anybody to know? Like, this can't, there's a lot of problems here. He just needs to run away.
And imagine too, like, if the mom's like, honey, you can't date him. And she's like, why not? But she'll never really give her a firm answer. Like, that would be so sketchy.
I also wonder if he did tell the daughter, and then the mom like swore it was a lie and like kept swearing it was a lie and then made him out to be crazy. Like, it's kind of a lose for him. So I really hope that him and the daughter didn't hit it off, because I don't see this ending well for him.
No. But jaw was on the floor when I read this. I was like, you're kidding. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, like, could not believe it. Oh, that one is a wild one.
Okay. Do you want to do number 3?
Yes. Number 3, red flags before a date. Okay. So this guy slid into my DMs and he was hot and I was single, so I went for it. We chatted for about a week and then he asked me out for sushi. All seemed normal, except he suggested a sushi place that was an hour outside of town. I really didn't want to do that because the place he suggested wasn't worth the hour-long trip. It was just mediocre sushi. He insisted, but I put my foot down because I was getting really weird vibes. Eventually, he agreed to go to a local spot instead. Once we met up, things seemed to be going well. He was nice and funny, but the whole time he kept looking over his shoulder and glancing around. I joked as if I had a, in quotes, hit out on him. And he was laughing, saying no, he just hated being seen in public by people he knows. Weird. His phone kept going off and he claimed it was work stuff. Odd, but I brushed it off. By that point, I was already leaning towards saying no to a second date. Then, out of nowhere, a girl walked up to our table looking furious. She started yelling at him, asking if he was serious and how he could do this to her. Apparently, she had tracked his location. Turns out he had a girlfriend. I immediately grabbed my purse and headed for the door. he had the audacity to follow me and ask me to tell his girlfriend that I was his cousin, claiming she didn't know his mom's side of the family very well. I was flabbergasted. Instead, I went up to his girlfriend and told her everything. How he wanted to leave town for the date, all the red flags, and everything he had said. She broke up with him on the spot, and I left and blocked him.
I mean, can we just talk about how to spot red flags before you even go on a date? Because
the out of town thing was weird.
Also, too, just for your safety, you should never go on a date in an unfamiliar place. Like if someone's ever like, can you drive an hour to meet me? Or let's go here and it's like 45 minutes out of your way. Unless they live far and you're meeting in the middle, that's a different story. That to me is a red flag.
I totally agree. And then for him to be like sketchy looking over his shoulder. But my one takeaway from it is like girls for girls. Like instead she walked back in and she's like, you know what? I'm not going to say I'm your cousin because I can't believe you have the audacity to ask me that. Instead, I'm actually going to go tell her everything you said. And then for the other girl to say, okay, and break up with him on the spot. I'm like, I honestly hope like you two stayed friends.
Right? No, I do love that because, yeah, she definitely could have been like, yeah, I am your cousin. But she was like, F you. I'm going the girls route.
In what world does a girl get up and you think, oh, maybe I can convince her to say she's my cousin? What?
Some idiot who obviously had this like very planned out. He thought of every single scapegoat possible. Like, okay, I'm going to constantly look over my shoulder. And if she does run into me, I'm going to tell her that this is my cousin. Like, that is wild.
Mike, and you think the other girl's going to be like, you know what? Okay, I'll do that for you. What?
People
she
are
owes
crazy.
you nothing.
Yeah, that's what's so hard too when you're dating is because it's really hard to spot red flags pre-date. Usually you're already like on the date when the red flags are coming, or it's like you're already in a relationship with them. But pre-date red flags, I feel like it's seeing how they pick a location. Like to me too, I have a friend, this was like a few years ago, and the guy would only pick locations next to his apartment, never near her. Like, I'm like, that's a red flag because he's only wants it to be convenient for him and is not considering you or the commute you have to make. And two, if he's not being considerate over a location, think how it's going to be in the relationship. Like a location tells you a lot about it, how a date's going to go.
Yes, and how the people are like, and like even the vibe of it. Like, there's so many things. That's crazy to keep picking places near him. Like, oh my gosh.
I remember Pete. The first thing he asked me was like, "Where do you live so I can pick a place near you?" I was like, "That is so sweet." And I remember I went on a few dates with other guys, and they would ask. I remember this one guy. This was when I lived on the east side of Manhattan, but I like told him where I lived and he was like, okay, yeah, do you want to meet in West Village? And I was like, yeah, like that to me, I didn't think of it at the time as weird because that's like where everyone goes on dates. Then I come to find out he lives like across the street. I was like, of course this is where you pick because it's convenient for you.
Like, yeah, I'm so sure. Like, do you want to meet in West Village? It's do you want to meet me in West Village? Because I'm already there.
I was like, so yeah, where do you live? He's like, the block that way. I'm like, F you. Like, I have to transfer trains to get here.
Yeah. Like, hello, think about it. Let's meet in the middle. Or I would love it on the first date if the guy came to you.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Pete did.
Yeah.
Picked a place right next to my apartment.
That's as he should have. Like, that is very, very nice of him. I remember actually that he did that. And then there was something else. He dropped you off in a cab one time or something.
No, he picked me up in an Uber for our second date.
Yes, he was so sweet. Yeah, that's right. That's right. He did that. I knew there was like some car situation.
Which I would never expect a guy to do that because that is above and beyond. But the thing is his office was actually like 6 blocks from my old apartment. So he was like, I'm already going the exact same way as you. And he wasn't going to subway because it was August and it was like 90 degrees out. He was like, I'm already going to be in the Uber I'll just pick you up. It makes so much more sense than us both taking 2 Ubers when I'm literally passing your apartment. And I was like, the practicality I just really appreciated.
Yes, and it's just a really sweet gesture.
Yeah.
But I do think that guys should be really mindful of like where the girls are on the first date.
I remember one time a guy picked me up in an Uber on the first date. Once again, he lived right by me, and it was so frustrating though because he was on the phone when he picked me up, and then he proceeded to like stay on the phone a little bit into the car ride. Like he was on like a business call, and I was like, this is so weird. I was like, I mean, I guess we're eliminating small talk for the majority of the ride, but I was like, this is so awkward.
Oh, I don't love that. I'm fine. You can be on the phone like third or fourth date. You can be like, sorry, 1 second, I'm almost off. And like, then that's fine, but not like the initial meeting.
No, and I believe it was a holiday or a weekend. It wasn't like it was 5:00 on a Wednesday. Like work was still going on. I'm like, you had to take that, or you couldn't have just like texted me and being like, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late. But instead, I was just like got out and he was like, the Uber's on the phone. The Uber's right there, and I was like, okay,
Okay. Yeah, like hello. I remember on our first date, Harrison gave me the option of like, he was like, this is where we're going. You can meet me there if you want, or like I am going to be passing you. So like we can Uber together. And I remember asking him, and I was like, just go ahead and pick me up actually. And I remember asking him like, why did I get the option? And he was like, because sometimes like people don't want to meet first in the car.
yeah.
And I thought that, but like he did get out and like give me a hug, which I was glad he did because I needed to know if he was actually 6'1" or if that was like a roster height. And like, I needed to know it right out of the gates because like that was going to be, and so that was nice. But I am thinking about if he would have been on the phone, I just think it would have been so awkward.
Right. Also, I don't
know that I could have like recovered from that.
I love that he got out of the car and gave you a hug, because how awkward too if you meet someone and you're like both sitting in the car and you're like sitting, hi.
Like hey,
it's so
like,
awkward.
Yeah, it would be also so weird to get out of the car after you'd already like hugged, and then to find out, I don't know if they were like shorter than you or something. Like there's too many variables.
Can you imagine? You just like get out of the car, Harrison's like 5'4", because you're like 6 feet.
I would
heels.
just be like, oof. I'd be like, oh, this is really gonna suck. Because then. Yeah, it's just not what I would have been expecting. So it was nice. That was the one thing I really wanted, because I was like, I think he's really cute. I just really hope he's as tall as he says. Because, you know, some people say they're 6'1" and they are 5'10".
Mm-hmm. Been there.
Yeah, and he's more of a 6'1", Air 6'2" situation. And so I got really lucky. But I wanted to know. That was my one like question mark right out of the gates.
Oh, God, that's funny. Okay, listener submission 4. Do you want to read it? It's kind of long.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, my cursor was scrolled down. Okay. So I laugh when I read this one. So one of my longtime guy best friends asked me out on a date to a roller coaster park, Six Flags. then we were going to stay until Fright Fest started that night. We had kind of liked one another forever, so I was excited about the date, to say the least. Well, the first roller coaster we went on had 3 loops, and immediately getting off, he threw up in the bushes not even 20 minutes into the date. In my mind, any sign of kissing went out the window. I felt bad, so I took him into one of the dining places to get him food and water. As we were sitting down, he all of a sudden got a Charlie horse in his hamstring and kicked me hard under the table on accident, putting both of us in pain, and it left a massive bruise. The next ride we went on was the water log ride. This ride has the continuing spinning walkway where the logs keep moving as you're getting in. The director was putting us in the logs, pointed to one that was about to go into the ride. My date sprinted over and got there before me and jumped into the log. He reached behind to grab my hand. I stopped myself since I didn't think I was going to make it in time. As he went to jump out of the log, he fell face first into the water. I just have this mental image in my head. Into the water of the ride, fully submerged. They had to shut down the whole ride. Security had to come interview us to make sure he wouldn't sue. And we were escorted out of the park. The worst part was getting the ick as his mom picked him up and just put his socks on for him. He was so embarrassed. We haven't talked to each other since. And like, you just know, because it's Fright Fest, that these people are like 14, 15 years old at the time.
So I didn't read this one purposely beforehand because I wanted to be surprised by one of them. That sounds like a scene from a movie. It could not get worse than that.
I just imagine him falling, like just this little boy that wanted to take her on a date, and like he's mortified afterwards.
Does this kid have the worst luck in the world?
I just hope it didn't like absolutely kill his confidence for like the rest of his high school time. You know what I mean? Like, that is brutal.
The mom thing with the socks kills me. I'm like, of course, cherry on top of the worst date ever.
I mean, like, he had to call his mom to come and get him, and it's so sad. I'd love to know where he's at now.
Right. Not that you really could with this situation exactly, but I kind of want to talk about like how you can get out of a really bad date or end a date when you want to end it, or just even say no, because you know sometimes you go on a date and like one party is more like, let's have another drink, want to go to the next place, and a lot of the girls that wrote in, a lot of the stories, they were like, I just said yes because I didn't know how to say no. And I was like, ooh, that's a really, really good question.
Well, and I think anytime you have a friend call you multiple times or something like that, it's tough, because I think that's kind of the get out of jail free that happens in the movies. But other than that, like, I think you just have to say, like, I've had a really nice time, but like, I want to call it quits here.
Yeah, like I always went into a date with an escape plan. Even like that was just like my mentality. Like I always went in with an excuse to get out. And the best way I did it was always blaming work. Like, you can never get mad at someone if you're like, oh, I would love to get another drink, but I have an 8:30 presentation tomorrow. Or if you don't feel like lying on the spot, sometimes what I used to do was, if I knew the date was getting bad, I would start to kind of use it as a conversation, started being like, oh, so like work this week is so crazy. I can't believe tomorrow I have to get up at 6 a.m. because I have to present to the team. Like, I hope that I'm not hungover, like making a joke out of it with the drinks. I did that a few times. Or even just having your friend call you an hour and a half in, because if your phone's ringing and you're like, oh my God, it's my mom, like she never calls me, and you pick it up, like you can just blame it on a family emergency.
Yeah, and I think like going, like setting the expectation ahead of time too, of like, yeah, would love to meet you for a drink. I can only stay for one or two because like I do have a crazy next day. And then when you get there, if you're having a blast, you can be like, okay, sorry, I always say that just in case you're crazy, but like I'm having a blast. Let's keep hanging out.
Yeah.
Like then it's easy.
Sometimes too, if you're on a weekend date, I remember this happened to me in Minnesota. I went on a date with a guy on a Saturday, and it was the worst day ever. And I remember he asked if we could go out, or if we could go get another drink somewhere. And I was like, I would love to, but I'm actually meeting my roommate and all her friends who are visiting from Fargo. They're going to be at the bar a couple down, and I never get to see the girls. And the only time is after this date. So how about we just meet a different time? Obviously, I didn't meet him a different time, but like I wasn't meeting my roommate or her friends. I just used that as an excuse.
Yeah, but like a detailed one, which I think is probably, it's just like better than just being like, oh, I'm meeting my friends. And then to say too, like, we can meet another time is perfect. And then if you want to hide behind your phone and like text it later, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think it's important too to keep first dates. I like them to be like 3 hours or 2.5 hours, because you don't want to give like all your cards out on the first date. You want to keep some things mystery, some questions to yourself, so you have more to talk about on the second date. I don't know. I just like learned over time, like a simple, cute, short first date is key. And then the second date to me was always better when that happened.
Totally, because then you were also like really excited about it.
Yeah. So, but that's a big one because I've been in that situation where I feel like I can't say no. And then the whole time you're like, where's the waitress? Please bring the check. That's why I also like only do drinks, because it's easier to get the tab if you're just drinking versus if you're getting a meal.
Oh, totally agree. And it's later in the evening too, which is just less. It's so nice. It's so nice to do just drinks. I always thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah. Oh God. Because can you imagine you get there and the first 5 minutes the date sucks, and you still have to order the meal, eat the meal, and then wait for the waitress to bring the check?
No. Like, there's nothing worse than that.
No. And then the last question was how to keep a positive attitude if you are someone who keeps going on bad dates. Like how to not hit that bad, or like that dater's fatigue. Because like if you go on a date like this, you might be like, I'm never gonna date ever again. So someone was like, how can I keep a positive attitude after going on a date like this? And I feel like the best way is, I know this sounds stupid, but like the best way is to just keep dating, because it's a numbers game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Obviously, like the numbers game, like I think shots on net and then eventually one goes in, right?
Yeah.
Like if you keep playing basketball, you're going to get better at basketball. I also think though, if you do hit dating fatigue, like take 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
And really like put your phone up and just like focus on yourself and like have your girl time, because you never know what'll happen in that 2 weeks, right? I always think you find them when you're not looking, and then like get back on it when you're like a little refreshed. But I do think if you want to take like a little break, do it, and then you'll be excited about it again.
Yeah. And I also too always used to reflect after a bad date and be like, okay, 1, you have a great story to tell your girlfriends. 2, you can reevaluate that date and understand what you don't want in a future partner. Like I always took them as a learning experience, and I was like, okay, this person taught me that I really don't like someone who chews with their mouth open, that maybe disrespects the wait staff, just like things like that. So I always try to come up with like a little bit of a positive outlook with all the bad dates, and it helped me keep chugging along for those next dates I would go on.
I think that's great. I really like that advice, actually. I think that's learn from it.
Yeah. So if you did go on one of these bad dates, keep chugging along, because you'll find your person. And I'm curious too, like where all these people are. I'm like, where are you at now?
Yes. I totally agree. I want to know where everyone landed.
Right.
Because you do have to have the bad, like everyone, you have to have the bad dates. And then you appreciate the good ones.
Exactly. Okay, so before we go into our rec, anything else you'd like to add about crazy date stories?
No. At the time they seemed like the worst thing on the planet, and then we look back on them and laugh. So I think that's nice. Some optimism.
Hilarious stories to talk about with your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what is your rec of the week?
So my rec is one that I actually haven't done yet. It's something that I really want to read, and it's The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and I've been seeing like so many good reviews on it, and so I want to actually like walk to the bookstore here and like physically pick it up. I'm not reading it yet, but I do think people should read it because I love her and I love everything she touches. So that's my rec. What's your rec?
Wait, did we not ever talk about the Let Them Theory on the podcast?
We did talk about it,
okay.
But then I think her book is like a lot more flushed out.
Yeah, I love that theory. It really helped me with a lot of things, especially with like weeding out bad friends. Because like whenever something would frustrate me, I'd always used to just be like, I'm just gonna let them. I can't control their actions. I'm just gonna let them. So
totally agree.
Let me know what you think of the book, and then if you like it, I will read it.
Okay, I love that.
And will you physically read it, or will you do audio?
I will physically read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love your book rec, because I also have a book rec, but mine is fiction. I started the Magnolia Parks series, and I finished the first book, and it is so good. It's like the best way for me to describe it is Gossip Girl meets London's Elite. It's
Ooh.
about this group of rich kids, like very, very rich kids in London, and they're all like a little incestual, like they all sleep with each other, but two of them are madly in love with each other, but I don't want to. I'm trying to like not give away too much, but they can't be together for some reason, which you'd find out if you read the book. And it's just kind of them going back and forth. Like when she's ready, he does something to piss her off and she pushes away. When she's ready, she does something to piss him off and he pushes away. And it's like this constant back and forth. But they just love each other so much. And Jess Hastings is the author, and she just writes so beautifully. Like I could visually see everything she was saying, and it was like cool to just be like transported into this world of like London's elite and like toxicity and love and drugs and all this stuff, and I had fun reading it.
Oh, I mean, it sounds like a wonder. I mean, Gossip Girl was so fun to watch. I bet this is so fun to read, and I know what you mean when you're like, I can visualize it.
Yeah,
I can see it.
So
yeah, that's so love. It's a great rec.
Good series to start, but I'm taking a break before I read the second one, and I'm reading a different book. But yeah, so that's my rec.
Okay, I love it. I mean, it's a great rec. Everyone read that if you like those kinds of books. That sounds like a good one.
And if you like nonfiction, read the Let Them Theory. I've heard really great things about it so far, so I'm really excited to hear what you think.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm due for a good book like that, so we'll see when I start it.
Okay, anything else before we sign off?
No, I think that I love that episode. I love when people write in. I like to hear from people.
I do too. And if you guys, we have a lot of topics in mind for upcoming submissions, but if you have any that you really want us to talk about, let us know. And always DM us like crazy stories, listener questions. Am I the asshole? We love reading all of your guys' crazy submissions.
Yeah, they're really good. Okay, well, love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.
Okay, that's it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening to Mean Girl Pod, powered by Just Media House. I'm Alex Bennett.
And I'm Jordyn Woodruff. So, AB, do what you do best.
If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, rate, and review. We are at Mean Girl Pod on all platforms. Stay connected with us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Snapchat at Mean Girl Pod. Podcast and social artwork and post-production by Creative Evolution Studios. Theme song to the Mean Girl Pod performed by Sergi Asbel. Mean Girl Pod, we're your besties in your ear. New episodes every Monday.